Hey, welcome to Forest County, Pennsylvania and the Forest County Outback channel, where we combine history with the outdoors. Now today we're going to look at 3 sites that are noteworthy but just haven't fit into any of our videos so far. Notice the logging railroad grade here. They're all over the woods here. So as I said in the first part of the intro, these are sites that have slipped through the cracks while we're making our usual videos. And they're noteworthy, but there's not enough there to make a full video on any individual site. So we're going to combine them and make a full video. So this is Forest County Outback number 56, 2 logging camps and a hole in the ground.
Hey, if you like our content and you want to help the channel grow, you can do a few things. If you haven't subscribed already, do so. You can also leave us a like, a share, and a comment. Remember, comments on YouTube have to be 7 words long to count. If you scroll down, you'll see our merch shelf, and then we also have our online store. There's a link to that in the video description, and thanks for watching.
This is a photo of Wheeler and Dooenberry's logging camp number 19. This was taken in 1926, shortly after the camp was built. And this is what it looks like today. So the main building, bunkhouse and cookhouse, would have been over in this area. And this, like I said, this was built in 1926. This was at the time when the last of the old growth forest was being cut down. The logging heyday was just about over when this camp was here. In fact, this was one of the last sites. This area up here around Heart's Content and Dunham Siding was one of the last areas that Wheeler and Dooenberry logged. They had several other camps in the area. And one thing kind of interesting, I think, about this photo, if you see, take a look at these steps. And I think that this is where those steps were. Years ago, this was a lot more defined, but like everything else, time is taking its toll and it's eroding down. Now, I've seen another photo of this camp from a different angle, which unfortunately I don't have access to it. I've just seen it. But there were a couple buildings. Okay, see, that's the main log spur that goes down to connects with the Wheeler and Dooenberry railroad system, and this is a spur track up here, and there were a couple buildings up there. It ends not too far up in the woods, and we're going to go up here and we'll see if we can find any sign of those buildings. So I'm following that spur up, and it ends up here shortly. The buildings were up on this bank here, and we come back, we'll walk back the bank, but right here is an artifact. Now, as you know, I am not a fan of removing artifacts from historic sites, but I'll tell you what, if you are a woman or a man enough to lift this thing out of here and hump it back to the road, hey, it's yours. I'm not going to say a word. All right, this area here looks like there was probably a building here. And it was a fairly large one. It was 2-story. And I wish I could get a copy of that photo. Now, I first saw this site back in, I don't know, the mid-80s. So we're talking 30 years ago. And the outline of this building was really well defined. And now, as you can see, time has taken its toll. It amazes me, visiting some of these sites that I haven't been to in years and years, how fast they are disappearing. You know, in another 20 years, you will never know that there was anything here. This would have been from the back side of the building, and there were like 2 extensions out this way. And they, like I said, they were very well defined in the ground too, but now, if I hadn't known they were there, you know, I wouldn't be able to figure it out now. And this, I think, there's a building, separate building behind the logging camp. I think this was the site of it. It was right next to the railroad grade. Okay, we are looking for Willer and Dooenberry's camp number 11. It was established in 1918 in this area. Now, I've been there before. That was a long time ago. So I'm not real certain where it's at, but this is the old railroad grade. So we're going to follow that. I'm figuring that'll probably take us to it. And we know it's a railroad grade because of the sleeper ties. And there's been pieces of coal along here. Okay, I think this might be it. I gotta look around here. There's a photo of the horse barn here. And when I was here before, I actually found the wooden piers for that barn. So I don't know if they're still here or rotted away, but that would be conclusive if we could find those. And this is, yeah, this is location. This should be it. So I've walked around here, and I got to confirm, yeah, this is the site of camp number 11. There's I found 3 logging railroads that converge into this spot. So we're going to take a walk around here. I'll show you the photos that I do have of the place, and see what we can find. Interesting. Get some idea of the size of the old growth timber that was here. So, yeah. There's my hat to give you some perspective. I think that thicket of rose bush there, I think that's where they had a spring developed. But I'm not going to root around in there to find out. But it looks like that's what that was about. This right here looks like they might have been stone piers for a building. This is a railroad grade going up through here. I said three railroads. This looks like number 4. There's one over here. So that's what this one is. Okay, we've got a large flat stone here. Sometimes they use this to make soap, lye, and that. They'll use a large flat rock. Usually there's grooves cut in them so they can drain. I don't see anything, but it's just pretty bizarre. So I got some artifacts here. Old wash tub piece of pipe. And then over here, I didn't see any wooden posts in there, but if memory serves me right, and every once in a while it will, that's where that barn was. And we've got an upright post here. This looks like it was dressed, but somebody found a horseshoe. And there's a piece of crockery. Now I'm not sure what this is about. It's a earthen embankment, U-shaped. Maybe in some kind of storage, because it looks like there may have been a house here. There's a kind of a telltale sign. The old daylilies. And then over here, people have collected a bit of stuff here. A couple axe heads. Broken glass. That's a bit newer. But so there's that embankment. The horse barn to the right of it. You can see down through the field. And there's another railroad grade over here. And looking at this photo of these buildings right next to the railroad grade, I'm thinking it had to be taken along this section here. At that time, Wheeler and Dooenberry were experimenting with portable buildings, that they would load them on their trains with a log loader and move them to a new location. I don't know how that worked out for them, but yeah. So, camp number 11. A lot of good stuff here.
Now I've got a couple photographs that were taken during this same time period, 1918, 1919, in this general area. This is a log landing on Bob's Creek. And this is the track gang. Most of these were Italian immigrants. We are on our way to the third stop, the hole in the ground. So that's the hill we just came up. Making Forest County Outback videos is not for wimps. So that down there is West Hickory, and we're above the Narrows. Now, I'm pretty much giving this location away, but I don't think too many people are going to be coming up here. So we're going to go look for our hole in the ground, which is up that way. And the Forest Service owns this right on the crest of this hill. And then that's private property over there. Hey, for those of you who may not be familiar with the area, this is the Hickory Narrows. And we were up there at the top of that hill. Now, I actually climbed up the backside of the mountain because it's not quite as steep. If you've ever wondered what the top of the Narrows looks like, this is it. Okay, we have finally reached that fabled hole in the ground of which poets tell. Actually, it's not a hole so much as a trench. And what this is an iron mine. Now, how in the hell in the 1850s somebody found a seam of iron up here on top of this, at the crest of this ridge, I have no idea, but here it is. So this is one end of the mine. Yeah, so they had to climb down over here and start digging. And we're gonna walk out the length of this. I think it's only about 500 or 600 feet, something like that. Okay, yeah, so this is continuation of the mine. I'm not gonna film and walk at the same time because I really do not want to trip and fall here. Yeah, that would not end well. You can see West Hickory down there, and the river, maybe a little bit of the river. So let me give you the story on this mine. Starting in the mid-1850s, there was an iron furnace on Little Hickory Creek, stone blast furnace. And I did a series on that. It was episodes 12 through 15. And I think in 14, I talked about the mines near the furnace. And there was some bog ore, an open pit mine. And then they had they mined a seam very similar to this up by Gunther Rocks. Now they got iron from other sources. There were some seams over near East Hickory, and then there was this one here. And it was a pretty serious operation. I mean, they did a lot of digging. The quality of the ore was not very good. The iron it produced was very, very hard, and it had a limited uses. But nevertheless, they followed this seam out and used it to produce iron, as long as they could get iron ore out of here. There's the West Hickory Bridge down here. And we're continuing on out this way. And finally we come to the other end of the mine. Hey, had to walk out to the end of the mine just to say I'd done it. So that's it for Forest County Outback 56. 2 logging camps and a hole in the ground. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment. Remember, comments have to be 7 words to count on YouTube. And visit our online stores. And if I survive the trip back down the mountain, we'll catch you on the next one.